Hey, what is up guys? So today I want to talk about a pre-October ban list discussion, because every time I make these ban list discussion videos, you guys always have a lot of great input in the comment sections, and I want to actually elaborate more on some of the cards you actually comment on. So I figure we'll do one of these, that way we can actually talk more in depth when I actually make my October ban list discussion video, which will be up in about a week, because in less than a month guys, we will be getting a completely new ban list, and in probably about 2 to 3 weeks we'll actually get that official list from Konami. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, this is all basically from my input to your guys' input, because I'd love to hear what your opinions are on some of these cards. And if I forget anything, hey, definitely let me know, and not, like I said, I'll add it in my other discussion video. So anyways, so first off, Coach Soldier Wolfbark. We already got reprints of basically everything in the Fire Fist deck. You can also use this card in Fire Kings, but for the most part, Fire Fist was a relatively strong deck, and it didn't really do anything as far as this year over at Worlds. And the thing is, why is Wolfbark at 1? We got the reprint, we got the Tiger Kings, and unfortunately this deck it needs more Wolfbark. I know you can play Call of the Haunted, but it's just so nice to have this card as a searchable card off of Tenki. And there's so many other rank 4 spam decks, I was thinking, well, you know what, the Mega 10 basically allowed you to play the Fire Fist much easier, although that deck doesn't really function as properly anymore because you need multiple Wolfbark. I think at least 2 would be nice. Like I said, they already have rank 4 spam decks. Why not at least give us 2 Wolfbark? Because it negates the effect. I mean, the Satellite Knights still get their effect. The Neb still gets the search. Like, why is Wolfbark at 1? I have no idea. But like I said, I love your guys' input on that. Next up, I feel like the artifact cards could definitely take a hit. Just the Moral Attack and the Sanctum. Either one that they hit, I'll be comfortable with. And the OCG Moral Attack is at 1 for a reason. It's just because all the decks right now, almost every meta deck is just running triple Artifact Sanctum if they have access to it. Not only does it give you access to running lights and dark, well, it gives you the access for lights, and it lets you just play BLS, and this card is just way too good. It's like, oh, surprise, you MST'd me? Oh, okay, you know what, I'm gonna get a 21 beater and destroy one face-up card. Now, I know you can break through Skillet, and that helps out a lot, but the thing is, this card's Sanctum is inherently just terribly designed. Like, if this card is activated, even if they, destroy it, it still gets its effect, which is just absurd. The one thing that actually kind of helps is Wiretap in the game. So many players are playing Wiretap, and Wiretap is just so fantastic. And I feel like Wiretap, I'm not saying it has a chance to be on the ban list, but I feel like that card is just way too good in the game in general. Although, traps in the game don't see too much play, other than there's maybe 5 traps that most decks run, and this is not a very trap heavy format, I would say, unless there's certain decks that have to play traps, like for example the Burning Abyss. That is all about running tons and tons of traps. But for the most part, the most meta deck in my opinion, as you guys know, is Shadal's, that generally doesn't play too much back row. It's like the generic 5, maybe 6 trap cards. But for the most part, Wiretap, it's so it's too good. There's no downside to it. Anything that negates a Yu-Gi-Oh usually has some type of downside, although Wiretap is actually more of a plus than a downside. Next up, I want to talk about Winda as well as Kaiser Coliseum. I feel like both of these shut down mechanics of the game that the game kind of needs to be able to special summon multiple times, especially if they're going to be pushing pendulums at all, because if you pendulum summon, usually after you perform your pendulum summon, you want to do other things. Kaiser Coliseum won't let you do it, and same with Winda. Now, I'm not saying Winda would be banned or anything, it's just that I just wanted to mention this in general, and I would love to hear what you guys' thoughts are for the video that we'll be making in about a week. Next up, I feel like Dragon Ravine, man, it was such a dick move from Konami. Be like, oh guys, we reprinted Vajrayana, that Dragoonity card, the last card that you needed to make Dragoonities. Oh wait, hold on, we banned Ravine. That was just, what's funny is, it wasn't even Dragoonities that got a Dragon Ravine, man. It was actually the Dragon Rulers, which is kind of a deck that, I could say, kind of went away. I mean, even now, against a Winda, that deck would have a very tough time dealing with Winda. Can you imagine, what would you do against Winda? Of course, unless you break through skill. You're just not going to have a good time at all. There's very few rebuttal plays. Next up, I wanted to talk about the E-Hero Stratos real quick, which was, basically Stratos, everyone was like, why the heck is Stratos banned? I don't even think Stratos would have done anything in this format. But later, guys, once the new E-Hero, the Shadow Mist, comes out, which he's basically a searcher anyways, I feel like he's a little bit slower technically. The deck can still function perfectly fine without Stratos. I can definitely see Stratos coming back, but if he stayed banned, I wouldn't be surprised, just because, it lets you run more. Well, most decks would probably play 3 Shadow Mist anyways, because you're going to be, trying to special summon this card as much as possible and get free advantages off this. And also the Dark Law is really good. So you don't really need Stratos. It definitely, like I said, helps just a small bit, but just being able to speed up the deck, like special summoning this, maybe with Summoner Monk or something like that, it's just very key. And being able to get a bunch of free advantage, which Stratos, it has that alternate effect where it pops back row, but very few players actually use that effect. It usually happens like once or twice, but like I said, it doesn't happen very often. And as far as the Infernities go, because you know they did win this year, so Infernity Launcher, maybe Necromancer. Like there's a lot of things that can hurt Infernities, but I feel like if anything, like the card that would hurt them the most would probably be Launcher. And it's so funny that after Barrier went down to 1, they started doing so much better. Man, welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh, right? But lastly, the most importantly, Soul Charge something has to happen with this card. This card is just, it's too inherently just bad for the game. I mean, there's so many times where you will overextend, and then you don't really get punished for it when you activate Soul Charge. Sure, you have to pay that, 1,000 life points for each card that you actually summon, but the thing is, that's not really that much of a downside. Even though you can't activate your battle phase, and you can only activate one per turn, I think the upsides outweigh the downsides, because making cards, like the Pleiades can definitely stun, maybe like an Abyss Dweller. There's so many cards that you can just make it, so your opponent is still stunned. Even like Black as a Corn, you can still burn him. Maybe even a Gaga Cowboy, you can still get that extra damage in that you just need to finish off the game. But this card is just inherently, I think, poorly designed, because it's just the fact that you can get all the monsters and they're not like destroyed during the end phase. I think all of them should be like banished during the end phase, so it forces you to synchro or XYZ rather than just leaving your already powerful, synchros on board. Because this card and Yang Zings can be absolutely crazy because you're able to go for cards that are unaffected by other cards, and like the when you are able to actually bring the fire one that increases by 500. It's the I believe it's the water one where it's like it's unaffected by traps, and it becomes way too out of control, especially once they have skill drain. But that deck is getting more support, and I don't really feel like it's that much of a threat right now. But that's the way I see the game right now. But like I said, guys, this is all for your guys' input, because I want your guys' input so I can make my more in-depth ban list discussion video. We can go over like all the archetypes, but I figured this is what I kind of wanted to mention. But if you felt like I missed out on anything, hey, let me know in the comment section below. That way, whether we are vendors or we're just players, we can kind of just predict what's going to happen for the game, and then we can kind of get rid of some cards or get ready for the format accordingly. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Azneyes signing out.